Listen up.
Welcome to the PowerShell Podcast, the podcast for PowerShell and the PowerShell community. And now, here's your host, Andrew Plaw.
Welcome to another episode of the PowerShell Podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Plaw, at Andrew Plaw Tech. And we have a very special episode in store for us today. I'm joined, or will be joined, after the pre-show with a couple of Europe's finest to preview PSConf EU and get a personal update from Christian Ritter and Björn Sundling. More on that to come soon. We're going to be talking about PSConf EU, which is June 24th through the 27th. That's sooner than later, as they say. So if you haven't gotten tickets, I don't even know if they're still available. Check it out. And if you're not going to go this year, pay attention to YouTube and set your plans for next year. PSConf is the website to check out. I mentioned this a couple weeks ago, but there has been an update to the PowerShell scripting and toolmaking book by Jeff Hicks. And in celebration of this update, Jeff Hicks has provided me with a copy of that book and the PowerShell practice primer that I will be giving away to a random person, two random people, I guess, who reach out. You can reach out to us at powershell@pdq.com, or you can DM me on socials. I'll put together a spreadsheet of a bunch of names and choose a couple of random ones. And in your message, I'd love to know a little bit about you and your journey with PowerShell. It's not required, but heavily preferred. I love hearing how people are using PowerShell and where they are with it, especially if you find yourself listening to a podcast like this. So that's exciting. All right. This week, I will be in Vancouver at Mac DevOps Vancouver. It's a very exciting conference. It'll be my second year there. Excited to talk about managing Macs. That is kind of a newer space for me, and I'm enjoying my learnings and managing my own little iPad and Mac device. It's been kind of fun. Looking for any opportunity to use APIs and tie things together there. But I have some exciting news in the world of me. Many of you have known I've been sort of shooting for the Microsoft MVP for a while, kind of been mentioned on a few podcasts. Well, I am very excited to announce, and those of you who follow me on socials may have seen this already, but I am officially a Microsoft MVP. So huge shout out to James Petty and Joe Hughes for nominating me. Shout out to everybody for all the support along the way. It has been quite a journey. I don't do things for that, but it is some nice external validation. It opens up a lot of cool new doors and opportunities, and hopefully help me help people more. And I'm very fortunate to have been on the end of the coin where I'm receiving a lot of support from others, and now I'm still receiving support, but I'm in more of a position where I can help others with their journeys and sort of pay it forward. And I'm very humbled and so stoked. So it's been a great day. And with that, I want to bring a couple of my friends onto the podcast to chat about PSConf EU. Welcome to the podcast, Christian Ritter and Björn Sundling. Welcome, guys.
Yay! Congratulations, man. That's awesome. Welcome to the crew.
Amazing.
Yes, very excited about it, man. It's been a good day.
Very well deserved.
I think we had a chat about it at the PH Summit this year.
Nice, we teased it a little bit. Yep, very exciting times. But I want to talk about PSConf EU because that's coming up. You guys are going to be there. I'm unfortunately not going to be in attendance this year. I have it on the calendar for next year. I've whispered in a couple of birdies' ears and told them that I really need to be there. So next year's the year for me. But this year's shaping up to be a pretty exciting year for PSConf EU.
Mm-hmm. It seems so, because I think, from my personal opinion, it's more shifting again back to the security part. So we have Miriam Wiesner, for example, or several other people like Fabian Bader and so on, Bartoligovsky, who are doing more security-related stuff again. Like in Vienna, there was a bunch of people there who were doing security-related content. In Prague, from my view, it was not the main focus, but also still a focus, because we are in a world of threats. So, that's a cool thing, I like to say. Björn, what's you?
It's always been one of those truly amazing conferences. It's like the lineup. I don't think I've ever been disappointed, and this year as well is the biggest problem isn't finding something something to go to. The biggest problem is who are you gonna miss and watch on YouTube afterwards, because it's just mind blowing lineup.
Yeah, totally.
I think they have a pretty good
the whole-
emphasis. I think they have a pretty good emphasis on community and have a really healthy vibe there where things are very open. The hallway conversations are on fire.
Yeah, that was what I would say. Like the conference itself is absolutely fantastic, but the whole community, the crowd, they even say it themselves. Like they have longer breaks. They make sure that everything is well fit for discussion. So it's like the whole point is, sure, the sessions are good, but you can watch those on YouTube, meet the people, talk amongst each others, and do cool stuff in between, which is absolutely amazing. And I mean, it's just like with the PowerShell and DevOps summit. There are like the level of knowledge is just amazing, which means like, well, if you have a question on PowerShell and no one there can answer it, then there is no answer. It's that simple. Like, there is someone there to discuss whatever it is you're interested in. There's someone there to talk about it with.
I love to hear that. And a little bit of context for the listeners. So we all hung out a couple months ago at PowerShell Summit. We were all in attendance. Didn't get to record a podcast while we were there, but we're making good on it now. You see, we came back.
I've heard there's a lost tape thing going on with you and me. So yeah.
Oh, you're referring to the lost tape. I didn't mention it. I didn't mention there was a lost tape. There might be a lost interview. It was a good night. It was a good night.
Totally. That was amazing. But when the clocks pass 1 a.m., you shouldn't record episode, I think.
So it's my fault for asking. It's my fault for asking. Totally. I see. I'll take it. But what are some of the differences? Because you all are fortunate enough to have been one of the select few that attends PSConf EU and PowerShell Summit. So what are some of the ways they're similar? How are they different?
Mainly the community itself. It's more or less the same. Okay, you have some people from the States who haven't had the chance yet to come over to Europe for the Conf EU. So it was for me a great opportunity to catch up with them there. So some people like you or
Clayton.
Clayton, for example. Yeah, no, I miss names. I'm so bad. He mentioned me so often. And DevOps Jeremy, for example, or okay, I will catch up later. So this was for me a big plus, and it was the first time in the States for me. And there is not a big of difference, I think. The whole community part is more or less the same. Björn, what's about you?
I would say that there is actually a slight cultural difference in America and in Europe when you do. It's not just PSConf EU and PowerShell and DevOps, but it's more like there are cultural differences. So for me, I always get the impression that Europeans are kind of more relaxed and slacked through it all. There's like no shirt and tie presentations. It's more down to earthy. And don't get me wrong, I love both of them. There's nothing different. It's just that you get there's a feeling of relaxation that's different. So I don't know. They're like Christian said. I mean, the community is amazing wherever, and I love the fact that I get to go to both of them and meet all of you everywhere, which is just fantastic. Like one of the things in our community that I sort of not regret, but feel bad for, is that they don't have any Asian PowerShell conference anymore. When I finally got brave enough to start speaking and actually doing this, and they sort of dropped the Asian one, and I'm like, but there's so many people there I wanted to meet. Now, fortunately, in the early days of PSConf EU, we had a lot of Asian, like at least Microsoft sent over a lot of their, Microsoft developers to PSConf EU, so I had the opportunity to talk to those. But I mean, there are billions of people living in Asia that I would love to have the chance to talk to as well. But I mean, of course, there are differences in how people behave and how cultures work.
One main thing, but is different is the I'd like to say the eating culture. not American food. That's not the point about it. The thing is, we for lunch we all sat in the same room, all the 200-300 people, and there was some kind of announcement while eating or chatting up. So for PSConf EU till yet, or I can only say for Vienna and Prague because it was 2 times there. It's more or less you go out on the hallway, you grab a plate or something like that, you eat, you chat with some people, and then it gets loose. And while sitting in the whole main hall and eating together is another spirit, more or less.
I think that's part of it. Like the European one, like I said, it's a bit more slack, and part of it is, I think they do that on purpose, the whole not having a big served table, because even though you say talk to new people, it's so easy when you have a table with 10 places, 10 seats, you sort of fall into your place and you talk to the same people and you end up at the same table. Whereas in PSConf EU, they sort of on purpose made it so there are no tables. You have like small standing tables for 2 people or something. But the point is mingle around, take your plate and just walk around and see where you end up. You can't have a table where you sit every day. Like it's meant to be like.
I get the point.
So like I said, I don't I can't say I prefer one or the other. I love them both, but there are differences.
Yeah, so just pretty much, if you can attend one, go to it. If you can attend both, really go for it. Sounds sweet.
Absolutely. It's just amazing.
And there's a lot of great talks, and for both of these conferences, they're available on YouTube out there afterwards. So I know there's a lot of people who maybe aren't able to go to conferences, and you can still stay in the loop as to what's the latest and greatest and hear for some of the great voices in the community. But speaking of great speakers, I believe you're both giving some talks. So Björn, what are you presenting on?
Yeah, so I'm doing 2 presentations, one on regex and one on absolutely new tool that I opened the repos a couple of months ago in March, April, somewhere I think it was. Haven't mentioned it to almost anyone yet. It's called the AzDM, the Azure DevOps Manager or the Dungeon Master. So it basically manage Azure DevOps. The session title is Manage Azure DevOps using PowerShell and Azure DevOps. It's basically a tool for doing the entire Azure DevOps setup, managing whatever you want to do using PowerShell and Azure DevOps. So that's like the one I look forward to the most. It's the first official presentation of this tool, and both because I'm actually quite proud of it. I like it. I'm happy with it, but also to get some feedback and see, will someone else appreciate it, or is it just my little toy? So those are my 2 sessions. Really looking forward to doing them, but the AzDM one, that's close to my heart. It's been a project in the making for, I don't know, a couple of years now, and finally getting sort of the first version out of the door is just feels good.
I want to hear what Christian's going to talk about, but beforehand, so can you give me an example of how you would use this? So you can use AzDM to define what your Azure DevOps project will kind of look like. Does that go down to like CI/CD stuff?
So what I realized in many of our customers, many of the cases I work with, is we come in and they need help to sort of set up baseline of how, when we create a new project, or when someone, just like in Azure, when you order a landing zone, you have a standard. These are the rules, the policies you need to follow. So this tool is basically a way of saying, okay, my default project in Azure DevOps should look like this. And then my default repo should look like this, and my default pipelines should look like this, and every new project should have a feed, and so on and so forth. But this project needs an override, so let's create an override file for this one and sort of specify that different rule sets and so on. Currently very early, so there aren't like a lot of settings supported, but it's basically a tool for this. And it also added some verification. So before it just creates stuff, so creating a new project is basically as easy as creating a file, and it will set up a project. But it also does verification, so you get a pipeline, verification pipeline running, telling you that, okay, when you approve this pull request, we will create this project and this repo and this settings and so on and so forth. So it's, if you have ever looked at the AzOps module for Azure, yeah, it's heavily influenced by that one, but for Azure DevOps instead.
And what's your day job?
Consultant. So Azure DevOps and Azure and automation and whatever, but like Azure DevOps consultant is a large part of it. So it basically comes from, like I said, doing the same thing over and over. There are so many customers, so many people needing help with this. And we have built these tools, but quite often when you work as a consultant, you end up building a tool, leaving it to the customer, and you're not allowed because the customer owns it. So this time I was like, okay, I keep getting this and it's a good tool. I'm just going to build it for myself the way I want it with no customer involved. So I can take it for my own 4 customers as well, but
Nice. I like that approach. I encourage everyone to try and replicate that when they can. But Christian, what talks are you going to be giving this year?
I will do a fundamental session about parallelization in PowerShell. So talking about, okay, now we have PowerShell 7.x, we have for each object parallel. We also could make use of jobs. We can also make use of run space and run space factories. And we could also make use of RS jobs, which are basically a wrapper for run space factories, which is better, or which cases you should choose one or the other. And so just a basic, I say basic, but it's fundamental session about it. What is parallelization? What is concurrency? And so on. So really back to basics. So the conference should be also for people who are new to PowerShell or more or less new to PowerShell. So yeah, there's something to catch up there, hopefully. Otherwise, I will learn something new on stage while presenting. If someone new better, please always shout out. And the second talk I will give is about the custom graph connectors. So if you have data on premises, for example, and want to push it to Azure in some certain way that you are able to catch it via Microsoft 365 Copilot, for example, and you don't want to have all the items in one drive or something like this. You just want to have a subset of data from your data in it. For example, you have some local file system, just to share on a network drive, and you have some files which you are not allowed to upload to the cloud. You will search for, build a JSON object, which you describe, for example, the file, give some text for it, provide the whole file path, and then you could ask Copilot, and then you upload it to the custom graph connector, and then you can just ask Copilot, okay, I need some files with this and this tag, or with have an abstract this content in it, and please provide me the file path for it, for example, or in which folder is it. So you are allowed to define all the properties and just upload it there. So it's just a basic walkthrough how to set up a custom graph connector and how to ingest data into it. Yeah, with PowerShell, of course.
Nice. Well, you sound like you're going to be busy. I will say you are kind of establishing yourself as the speed guy. Is that fair? Because I know you do like a lot of like what's faster. Now you're covering parallelization.
Not speed at all. I like to make code go fast, for sure. I also try to take some abstract or esoteric routes to archive some goals. I like this a lot. So yeah, I'm also try to improve myself. I also try to improve code. But the thing is, if you have a task for a customer, he wants task X, and you can do it in 1 minute or in 20 seconds. The customer usually don't care about, probably, because he has a task, you make it done, and if you just say, hey, I saved you 40 seconds, it took me 2 weeks, then the customer says, it's nice, it's faster now, but I have to pay you for 2 weeks for 40 seconds. What's the deal about it? But when the customer now says, I have some Azure functions which I have to run often, I have to pay for all the execution time, could you spend some time and make it a little bit faster? Then the customer is willing to pay me for this. Or I can say, okay, I've done something in my lot of spare time, because with 2 kids and a full-time job, you have a lot of spare time nights. And I found a way to make XZ faster, then I can participate from it and give it to the customer. So yeah, I like to make code go fast, totally, but it should be not the main goal on every project, because when you have a problem and you only have a hammer, every problem is a nail. Okay, with PowerShell you have a nail gun, we all know this, but yeah.
Awesome. Well,
I always tend to say that development is always done in 3 phases. You go make it work, and then you make it beautiful, and then you make it fast, in that order.
Mm-hmm.
So first you sort of just play around to have whatever, understand what it is you're doing, and then you write a good function or a good module or whatever to do it, and then you start optimizing it. The parallelizations is really interesting.
Yeah, totally. Because now we all doing more, okay, not we all, but many of the PowerShell devs doing everything in one step at a time.
Yeah.
And that helps the goal, but if you have to do it 500 times, you don't want to wait for it. Sure.
Nice. Well, good things to look into. I think I like what you said, Bjorn, about breaking it down, where first you just get it going. And I feel like a lot of people kind of leave things at that step. And I think if it works, it works.
That's okay.
Yeah.
In many cases, that's just, we need to solve an issue, solve the issue. It's like, I don't know who said it first. I've heard it so many times. Like, if it's ugly and it works, it's not ugly. And in many cases, that's good enough. But then when you sort of have your pride weighing in on it, when we release stuff personally, or when we don't have limited time, or someone has to pay for us or whatever, then you can start to do things more beautiful. And if you have even more time or even more requirements and so on, then it's time to start looking at optimizing.
But the thing about ugly is, yes, I always care about who is responsible for your code after you have done it.
Yeah.
So you should make it work, yeah, but also you should make it maintainable.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was going to say, definitely make sure that you do documentation to a certain degree somewhere in there. And I think there's always small opportunities to maybe go a little bit of an extra step to make it easier for you in the future, whether that is adding documentation or maybe leaving some other breadcrumbs for you in the future.
So going back, the other session I'm doing, the regex one, it actually started, and I've been thinking I should probably actually contact the crew and change the abstract, because it started out as sort of a introduction, beginner, easy regex pattern, whatever discussion. And the more when I started writing it, I kind of realized that that's not what I want to talk about. It's the making things easy is the interesting part about that session. So it sort of ended up becoming, sure, regex is hard, but let's see what we can do to simplify it. So, such as how can we comment our regex, for example, and how can we do stuff like making it easier, making it understandable.
Or using char objects.
Sorry?
Or using char objects instead.
Yeah.
Because
what does that mean?
For the char object, you have always methods for is character, is number, is punctuation, is blah, blah, blah. So you don't have to use regex. You have to use a lot of char methods to check. It's more or less
in many cases, regex is like shooting bunnies with a bazooka. It's overkill as hell.
I'm wondering how you use it. Like, why are you into regex currently, or you just appreciate it in general and think you can help others?
I really do enjoy writing regex, both because I find it immensely useful in some cases, but also because it's fun. It's a meta language with lots of weird quirks. So it's kind of like learning PowerShell or learning any programming language. It's fun to use. The problem, yes, but the problem with any language is that it's like Christian said, when you have a hammer, and the same goes with regex. When I started using it regularly, when I actually started implementing, I sort of tended to end up overusing it everywhere without sort of realizing the drawbacks of it, and where like just writing a really brutal pattern is fun and you look like a hacker when you do it. But tomorrow me will hate it. So how can we do it sort of more understandable? Because in some cases it is really useful. So I have a module that I actually talked about last year at the PowerShell and DevOps in a speed session. What's it called? The
Lightning.
Yeah, lightning session. Thank you. Called PSCekretScanner, which search your code for leaked or checked in secrets. So basically verifies that you don't have any, personal access tokens or passwords or whatever in your code somewhere. I added it as a Git hook to my own stuff, and it's basically just select string and a lot of regex patterns, and that sort of got me from, okay, I enjoy doing regex and I can use it, to holy moly, this is actually truly powerful. And in PowerShell and in .NET languages, it's also blazingly fast to loop back to the whole discussion with parallelization. That's why it actually one of the PSConf schedule issues I have is that exact session, Christian, it's actually colliding with one from Emrys McInally on versioning that I really, really want to see as well. So you and Emrys has to fight it out. Which one can I go to? Because I really find that interesting, like parallelization. But yeah, it's always hard with these conferences. There's too much good stuff going on.
Christian, you got to give us.
I'd like to attend Emrys session as well. Yeah.
Christian, you got to give us one takeaway from your session. Give us one tip. Where should we look? If there's one thing we remember from your talk, what is it?
Which talk?
Oh, the parallelization one.
The thing is, I haven't fully finished it yet, to be honest. But the thing is, if you want to go for parallel and you don't have the urge to make it blazingly fast, so you have to make it fast because you want to do it in parallel. And you have the ability to catch up with 7.x, go with for each object dash parallel throttle limit, go in there. You can make so many things wrong because it's easy to use. It's easy writable because when you handle with one space factories, for example, on the other hand, you have to make sure you have a big load of setup first, just to wrap it up quickly to go through it, because the nano microseconds you're saving are not worth if you have the chance to use it in PowerShell 7.x, and make use of thread-safe dictionaries. Because the thing is, if you target, for example, through a file, you just have to write down as a log to a file for 100 iterations with a short process execution in it, in parallel, and you just target to one editor file. You miss about 80 to 70% of all the inputs written there because it's right now locked. So if you just go by an thread-safe dictionary, just put it there and afterwards write it out to a file, for example.
Okay, good feedback. So when in doubt, just use for each object dash parallel.
Yeah.
That's just an easy takeaway. Okay, good. But whenever you're doing these things, you need to be aware of doing things in a way that is thread safe, because you have multiple things running at the same time. And if the method they're using to interact isn't thread safe, you're going to encounter issues, whether it's locked files.
You will lose data. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. And Bjorn, can you give us a little takeaway? Regex, I'm curious about.
The key takeaway is that regex is hard. And although the title is regex is hard, replace pattern easy, it's not really possible to make it easy, because regex is hard. It will always be hard. But you can make it understandable. And just like we talked about a short while ago, readable often beats fast. And you can actually make regex almost readable as well. So the key takeaways for how to make it understandable.
I like that. And I think that when we think about our careers, adding a tool like regex to your belt, spend a few months getting into it, having some fun, maybe finding a project, that is something that is, one, a differentiator within your team where you work, because now all of a sudden your team can handle regex. And there's a lot of different opportunities to use that knowledge within an IT team. But also going forward for other jobs, you You can put regex on the resume. You can speak to it. Maybe you publish a blog with some of your takeaways or a little cheat sheet that you use, whatever. It's a good thing to learn. So awesome.
Since it's cross-language as well, it's a meta language you can use no matter where you end up.
Yep.
Like whatever you start to work with.
Yep. Regex patterns are everywhere, and being able to leverage them is, I think it's just required generally, but even more required when you're in bigger environments, and even more required if you want to do things in the best way possible.
Yeah. It's cool. Makes you look like a hacker, like I said.
That's right. I mean, we all like, if you like PowerShell and you've written it before, we all love getting into that zone where we're just going, well, oh yeah, connect, boom, pipe this to that, to do. Yep. Feels good. And you can get in that same kind of headspace with regex.
Yeah.
Shout out to Steven Judd. He loves it too.
Like yeah, it's just like using terminal and on my Posh when you head out to the customer and have a fancy command line prompt.
That's what the command line prompts are for. You're supposed to just make yourself look cool. It's not about efficiency.
It's about flexing.
Yeah. It's like information overload. But I want to get some career updates on a personal level from you all. So, Christian, how have you been? We haven't talked to you in a while officially. Yeah. What's new? Any new projects, links, anything you want to share?
Yeah. My kid number 2 is my biggest project right now. So he's a half a year old right now. So it's also time consuming. Beside of all that, just heading to the PSH Summit for a speaker this year. For the first time, PSH Summit and a speaker there. It was a stunning experience. I've played around a little bit about with the feedback provider, which is currently an experimental feature. You can all enable this for PowerShell 7.x. And what this is cool about is Justin wrapped it up as a Justin Crowley wrapped it up as a PowerShell module for the script feedback provider. So you are easily able to register feedback provider, which are basically, because now I explain without explaining, you have the chance, if you just enter something into your command prompt, you can respond to it via the registered provider. So you just can analyze the AST, for example. You have the syntax tree, which, for example, Justin had also a session at the summit and took the example for when you write an error, then you can make use of recommended action as a parameter. But the thing is, it will not be displayed. So what he is doing, he registered a feedback provider. If an error log that occurs has some kind of recommended action, it will be displayed to the screen right now in a second when it appears in your provider, in your terminal session. So what I did right out of it, because I think this is amazing, this is the next big thing we have inside of the terminal, I created PSClippy. Just in, I like Clippy a lot, so I miss them, and I think the whole AI thing is just a ridiculous amount of just Clippy instances. So I made PSClippy. So with some basic knowledge things. I also had a discussion with Daniel Schroeder, who did PS Tips, called his module, because he gives tips on his with his module inside of your terminal. I just had a look about this whole project of him, just to took some examples like filter on the left, formatting on the right, null to the left on the comparison. And I just checked the abstract syntax tree, for example, with filter on the left. I just look through the AST inside of it and just check if we match up with regex. If you have where object or basically question mark, then I pass the input of the whole string in the terminal, which was executed, and I just try to figure out which is the command, and if the command contains a filter parameter. If this is the case, I just give as a feedback to the user, hey, next time you could replace your where object with the filter, because the command is capable of doing filtering, and so your execution, that we have it one more, should be faster the next time. That's the whole thing. Like what you have for the script analyzer inside of VS Code, for example, you can reproduce the whole behavior inside of your terminal or your command line itself. So I like this a lot because you also can look forward, for example, for speed comparison things. When you say, okay, I have iteration about X objects, blah, 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 it can measure the time, for example, can check, okay, this time the code was able to be executed over 5 seconds. And then you could say, okay, 5 seconds could be a marker that this is quite slow. Look for improvements, make use of the Thinkies AI module, for example, and just ask the Copilot or the AI if there's any kind of way for improvement, and report the improvement after your execution without asking for help, because the script feedback provider is able to give you some advices even if you haven't asked for it yet.
Very cool.
You didn't know you have to ask for. So
awesome.
The capabilities are huge.
Yeah. So basically, it sounds like, so Justin Grody wrote a script feedback provider module that allows you to write feedback providers in plain PowerShell, which you then leveraged to add a feedback provider for PSClippy to proactively give you suggestions that are more helpful than your average error message that you might encounter.
Yeah, it's more or less a little framework around of it. So I'm open for PRs, issues, and so on. If you have just a good idea, head out. There's a GitHub repo.
Christian, I have good news for you, my friend. I just seconds ago submitted a PR. I'm not kidding. It's only a README update, but I saw a couple things that could use updating. So I'd love to be a contributor on the project.
You shouldn't say only a README contribution. As a maintainer, every contribution is worth a lot.
Yep.
I love it. Even though it's less spell check, it's the best you can get.
It is. And I read through it. I saw a little issue. Okay, cool. Boom. I think I really want to get people who are using projects, 1, to visit the GitHub, 2, to star the GitHub, 3, to open up issues if you run into things that don't seem like the right way. And then 4, submit PRs for small things like this that you run across. But it's an open source community. It really is based on that. Oh my gosh, Christian.
So good.
He just accepted, he merged the PR. Yep. We did it, boys. We are a contributor on PS.
Live on the podcast. That's awesome.
Have to star that repo. And just a heads up, everyone listening out there in podcast land, all the links to every single thing that we've mentioned thus far and that we'll mention in the future is in the show notes. So all the links to these projects, YouTube talks, all kinds of good stuff. In the terms of feedback providers, I agree with you, Christian, in that it is a very interesting way, and it is one of the new tools that we haven't fully explored yet. It really can add a lot to your terminal experience, and I'm excited to see where this all goes, especially with AI. I mean, I'm not the one who's going to be writing the stuff, but once it's ready, I'll be using it.
Totally.
Awesome. And now into the world of Björn. And Björn, I want to start things off and saying, Happy National Day of Sweden, my man.
Thank you so much. Thank you. The flag is raised. It's the 6th of June. That's the National Day of Sweden, our version of the 4th of July. Now, Swedes don't normally celebrate. We have a day off, but that's pretty much it. But, being on a podcast, what better way to celebrate?
That's right, man. You're representing the country well, so appreciate that. But how have you been? I think we talked to you 10 months ago. You were last on the pod.
Yeah, it was pretty exactly. So last time we talked, I had just got my MVP title, which means this year has been, mind blowing. So I did my first MVP summit, which was a lot of so much cool stuff I can't mention. As in meeting all new MVPs and meeting the crew from the team from Microsoft and getting to do all kinds of cool stuff. And I've been involved in some other cool stuff I can talk about yet. So that's actually one of the cool things. I can highly recommend visiting my sessions at PSConf EU if you want to be dead early on some cool stuff that, well, like I said, can't mention yet. Other than that, it's actually been sort of, I've been working a lot on the tools, the AzDM above all, and doing my presentations. But it's been a sort of year in the background for me, actually. As in a lot of stuff, a lot of talking to teams, a lot of the MVP thing really changed a lot of my day-to-day work, because you're suddenly involved with development teams in a new way, and I get to provide feedback to them, and then, you know, all the cool stuff that I actually work with day to day. I can talk to the actual teams doing stuff with them, which is just mind-blowing, but so cool. And so
awesome.
Right now, like a month ago, I submitted my first renewal for MVP next year, and you know, it's amazing. It's kind of weird, and you being exactly now having gotten the title, like the very first day, my heart just started pounding, like, yay, I've done it, I'm there, I have actually got the title. And like the day two, the heart started pounding, going instead, holy damn, I need to do the renewal, am I good enough to renew this? And now I'm sort of sitting on needles because it's 1 month away. And then I get to see if I get to spend another year doing this awesome stuff, this awesome community stuff.
I know. I've heard that part's a little stressful and it's a little tedious to upload everything. But
yeah,
the first year is free, so I'm in for the first year. We'll take it.
Yep. Yeah, it's been amazing, from all the cool people you get to meet. You know, I'm not gonna hide the fact that, you know, all these contacts, the whole doing podcasts, doing presentations, it's been a lot to do, a lot of good stuff going on. But yeah, the coolest thing I've done so far, visit my sessions at PSConf EU.
AzDM, is that the one?
Visit that session.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I want to mention something cool about PSConf EU, which is this year there's this Pasha Kucha thing, which is, I guess, 20 seconds per slide to do 20 slides. You get 6 minutes to present. Do you all know anything about this?
Yeah, a little bit, because Björn did something on his work before with some kind of format like this. And also Thorsten Batz, who's also an organizer for the PSConf EU, had made a lot of effort to announce this, give a little show how this whole thing could work, or should work, more or less. And this is the thing for the whole attendees at the PSConf. So just to give you another chance, like the Lightning or community sessions, the open stage, another format, just to keep yourself out there to start to engage with the community, because maybe some people like it, do it that way or that way. So the chances are huge this year, even more than like last year.
Yeah. So the Pachakucha, it's a concept of really blazingly fast, like lightning demos plus fast. I've done them, like Christian said, at work for presentations, as in roundtable presentations, where you do like 10 to 20 slides and just 20 seconds each, with like, who are you, what's your interest, whatever. And it's a really tricky one to do a whole slideshow with that, because 20 seconds goes fast and you can't say many words in 20 seconds. So you sort of have to balance what you want to get through with how much you want to show, which makes it really interesting. And in this case, I'm really looking forward to seeing it, because trying to explain anything in PowerShell in 20-second iterations, that's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, I think you're going to have to cover ideas, not so much deep code.
Exactly. I mean, you can't have a demo. That's just out of the question. It's just, this is a theme. This is something I need to do. This is something I want to do. This is the reasoning behind it. This is a sort of, I mean, I could imagine you could do a fast process sketch and sort of throw up something around how to do it process-wise. But yeah, it's an interesting concept. And I really love that they try to sort of go outside of the normal conference thing. Again, it's like the whole between sessions, the whole culture and talking and hallway session agenda. Like it's just another way of trying to get people to talk. It's just another way to try to get people to interact with each other. And I really love that they do everything. Like 2 years ago, was it in Prague, when the PSConf EU had their first open stage? So in the sort of coffee area, they actually had a stage with everything connected. It wasn't recorded, but they had a big screen and they had presentation area and they had everything. And whenever you end up in a conversation with someone and someone asks like, "Oh, can you do this?" Instead of just answering that person, you could go, "Oh, you know what? This is something that people could be interested in. I'm just going to plug in my computer, bring on the mic, and talk about it for a couple of minutes." And that's sort of just another way of having these in between sessions, the way of getting people to talk. So I think this Pecha Kucha thing, like I said, I'm interested and I will watch it. I have no idea if I could do it myself because I tend to talk too much about everything. Like when I tried it at work, I ended up sounding like Eminem in that speed rapper battle thing. And yeah, it's not my style of presentation, but I really will enjoy watching it.
I hope it's recorded so I can check it out after the fact. Now, I want to thank you both so much for joining me. We've covered a lot of cool topics today, and I have more questions for you. But before we move on, I want to go to each of you. Christian, where can people find you? They love you. They love parallelization. Where can they find you on the World Wide Web?
Usually on the World Wide Web, you can always head out to the recordings for the sessions itself if you're interested in parallelization, or you just bought a ticket for the PSConf EU, which I highly can recommend, or you just can head out to HC Ritter on the most of the platforms, or to Blackbox Coder on that might
awesome
be as well. Yeah.
And what about you, Björn? Where can we find you?
Yeah, I dropped off the whole Twitter thing a year or two ago. So mastodon.nu/Bjompen or Bjompen.com or github.com/Bjompen. Basically, if you find Bjompen somewhere, chances are fairly big you have found me there. Yeah. So Bjompen.com is probably the best one.
Bjompen.com. I can remember that because it's your last name. Awesome. Now it's time for one question. Well, 3 questions, one at a time, starting with you, Christian. What is one tip for people earlier in their journeys?
Last time I think I've said, just ask for help, because the community is open-minded, open-hearted. The thing is, not even ask for help. I would extend the whole thing. Team up with someone. If you are in a cool process of doing something, spread a word about it. Let some people know. Sometimes they will head out and say, "Okay, there's the issue in your README," and will request a pull request, and then I just click "Okay, accept." And so they help me, and with something I do, hopefully I help another one too. So just team up, or like I did with Clayton, for example, because his awesome module was really cool. I could make it a little bit better, hopefully. And yeah, just spread the word and team up.
That's good advice. Bjorn, what about you? What is one tip you have for someone earlier in their journey?
I would say Christian covered it quite good, but I would say just dare to do it. Whatever it is you want to do, try. And I would also like to add, on the other hand, those of us who actually have been in the community for quite some time, when people fail, encourage them to try again. Like, blameless is the way to go. That's the way to iterate and get new people up there. Blameless.
I love that. Love that, Bjorn. Completely agree. From the internal communities at work, we need to have those types of cultures, and also externally, we need to have our hands extended, ready to move on and keep growing and reduce those hurdles that people who are newer can run into. So love that.
Who of us haven't deleted the database in our life? It happens.
That's right. It does. It does. Or rename things drastically wrong that caused issue. Who knows? All kinds of things.
Yeah.
Next question. What is the most slept on module? You can only pick one. Slept on means people should know about it, but they're not taking full advantage. Christian Ritter, what is the most slept on PowerShell module?
Oh, that's a really tough question. Because
I didn't say it was going to be easy, did I?
Yeah, you don't. So, currently the thing is, I have seen so many people struggle with invoke rep request or REST method for doing things with the graph module, for example. With graph itself, I mean, it's a graph module because I know it's not perfect. There's a lot of love about it. There's a lot of not love about it. I also would change things if I could, but it's always easier than doing it by hand, to be honest. And you have the wonderful opportunity to say, find mggraph command, and you see exactly which security permissions you have to choose for your current script, which helps you to start a new app registration without looking through the whole learn section. Okay, which security opt-in I have to give. So yeah, it's a controversial opinion. Yeah, but it is.
I mean, it sounds like you have some experience with it. You're exploring more things that you can do with graph, and I think that calling out find mggraph command is huge, because I think that is where people will run into the most issues, is finding out how the heck do I actually run this command that I looked up. It does what I want. Yeah, it's 60 characters long for a command name, but still. All right, Bjorn, what about you? What is the most slept on module?
I am going to go out on a limb. I think I said last time as well when you talked about modules, and say the core modules. Like, we tend to over search and we tend to look like there's so much cool stuff going on in the big community, and there are new modules and there are cloud modules and there are so on and so forth. But the very core modules that you get when you install PowerShell still includes so many good things, and they keep developing them. And I do a lot of PowerShell training, like courses for students, and every single time I do a beginner training, I find something new that has shown up in the core module. So the Microsoft.PowerShell.utility, like, it's just amazing how much good stuff goes on in there, and how they sort of just sneak out new functionality into it, which is just fantastic.
A great example that comes to my mind is join path, because every script, we seem to always run into this thing where we need to have a file name and a path and put them together. You don't need to do it yourself and worry about the slashes. Join path already exists for you. Go ahead and use it.
And that's another example. Like, if you do join path a few versions ago, then you could do a path and a child path. If you use PowerShell recently, they added child path and additional path, which is a string array, so you can just join how many levels you want to. And that's what I mean. Like, even though you looked at these, and even though you know PowerShell in and out, every now and then go back to the roots, the core modules, and dig into them, because I can guarantee you there are cool stuff to be found there.
Which is really cool, because I had a long conversation with Chris Stant on the PowerShell Discord about exactly that thing. Join paths, stack together. It's 2 years ago, but yeah, I remember that conversation, because I thought, hey, it would be so cool if there's a array I can push through, and it should be ordered, and then okay, they did it. Nice, thank you.
Nice.
Last question. Also, select string is part of that module, and I love select string. It's one of my favorite commandments.
It's powerful, and I'm pretty sure it actually just got improved in the recent version. I don't remember. I read it out last week, some of the cool changes. But like you're saying, these core commands are getting slight improvements over time. Yeah. Your usability is going to get better.
Yep.
Last question, and I'm going to reverse order, because I have a feeling this one's going to catch Christian off guard. All right, Bjorn, I know you're a musical guy. Give us one song suggestion. It could be a song that you like. It could be a genre you think people are sleeping on. What is your one song suggestion, title, and artist? And I'll put a link in the show notes.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and give you a programming song, like write code. When you write code, you want good music, fantastic, something long enough that you can concentrate. So I'm going to go ahead and say Green Carnation is the band, a Norwegian progressive rock band that released a song called Light of Day, Day of Darkness. It's approximately 65 minutes long. So it's just long enough for one coding session.
That's perfect. I'm a avid listening to music while coding guy, so I can definitely check that out. Good call out. All right, Christian, what is your song suggestion?
One song suggestion is quite hard, to be honest. The thing is, Björn took me on a track. If I want to start about making something new, making something big, I always start with all the things from Dual Core. They released this track in 2012. I think they played it live at a DEF CON. And it's just a little bit pushy about electronic vibes, even it's not usually my taste of music, but it's quite cool because a mixture of electronic music and some rap music with the background of technology, hacking, and so on. So this will push you a little bit, I like to say. And I have to give another one. I'm sorry, I break the rules. I like to break the rules. All the time when I head out for a long trip or something like that, it's always Leaving on Jet Plane by John Denver. It's just calm. It's just nice. It's oldie, but I like it a lot.
I love that, man. That's a great little twist there. Well, awesome. Thank you both for a fantastic episode. Great catching up with you. I love the podcast because it's a great excuse to get together, chat about PowerShell and what's been going on in our lives. And to everyone out there driving home right now, shout out to you, or driving to work, or listening at the office, or whatever you're doing. Maybe you're going on a walk. Hey, good on you getting out there. Well, if you're enjoying what you're hearing, if you're listening to this right now, you've been with us for a while. We've had a little bit of a chat. You can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or your podcast platform of choice. It would be greatly appreciated. And it would help us in our mission to spread PowerShell to the masses. Doesn't that sound nice? Sounds good to me. You can also join the PDQ Discord, discord.gg/PDQ, and the PowerShell scripting channel, sort of like a small little group of people on their PowerShell journeys together. I'm Andrew Plotek. You can find me on socials at Andrew Plotek. I'm on LinkedIn. My name's Andrew Plow. You can find me there. Look forward to connecting. Thank you guys for joining.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for listening to the PowerShell Podcast. The PowerShell Podcast is a PDQ production, making device management simple, secure, and pretty damn quick.